Hello everyone, we are going to get started shortly. Please sign in on the sign-in form that has been sent to you in the chat or also through the clickable link on the presentation screen. Thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to the South Central Texas Regional Water Planning Group or Region L public hearing for the 2021 Initially Prepared Plan. Thank you for your interest and participation. I'd like to thank the members of Region L for their commitment to completing this plan to provide water for our region. Region L is holding this meeting in compliance with the guidance provided by the Texas Water Development Board. Due to the COVID-19 crisis, the board has requested that all public hearings be held virtually, and we thank you for your patience with this adjustment. The entire meeting will be recorded, and the recording will be available on the Region L website after each public hearing. The website address is regionltexas.org. I'd like to ask that we please maintain decorum throughout this meeting as you would at any Region L meeting. Please be sure to sign in on the Google form provided. The link in the form is located in the chat box of this meeting or also on the presentation screen. On the sign-in sheet, you can indicate that you wish to make a formal verbal comment during the public hearing segment of this meeting. These verbal comments will be recorded and will be responded to in the final regional water plan. If you are attending via phone, please go to the Region L website at regionltexas.org to get the link for signing in as an attendee and to indicate if you would like to make a formal verbal comment during the public hearing segment of this meeting. You will also find the IPP presentation there to follow along with. There will be two segments to this meeting. The first segment is to introduce the virtual hearing process and a presentation that will give an overview of the IPP. After a short break, the second segment of the meeting will be a public hearing segment. Everyone who has signed up to speak will be asked, in the order in which they have signed in, to make their comments for the record. These comments and how they are addressed will be included in the documentation of the public hearings in the final 2021 plan. Everyone will be muted as they enter the meeting and will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. If you have any questions or need help, contact the organizers via the chat box. The presentation is available online at Region L if you would like to follow along that way. The website is regionltexas.org. I'm going to introduce Lauren Gonzalez, who is leading the presentation on the initially prepared plan.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Lauren Gonzalez. I'm with Black & Veatch. This is the third of 3 public hearings to present the initially prepared plan, or IPP, to the public. As Caitlin mentioned, the members of the public will also have the opportunity to provide written and verbal comments today during this meeting. The following presentation provides major highlights of the 2021 South Central Texas Region IPP. Region L is one of 16 regions delineated by the Texas Water Development Board. The regions typically follow political boundaries, river basins, or other geopolitical boundaries. The plan is administered by a government entity. In this case, it is the San Antonio River Authority. This is a zoomed-in view of the South Central Texas Planning Region, or Region L. It consists of 20 whole counties and one partial county, which is Hays County to the north. The region consists of Uvalde, Zavala, and Dimmitt counties along the western boundary and extends eastward all the way to the coast of Texas in Refugio and Calhoun counties. It includes major cities along the I-35 corridor like San Antonio, New Braunfels, and San Marcos. The South Central Texas Regional Water Planning Group, or SCTRWPG, has 31 voting members and 1 vacant seat for small business. The members represent a variety of interests such as the public, counties, municipalities, environment, agriculture, water districts, and others. Regional water plans and state water plans are prepared in 5-year cycles and project out 50 years. The first regional water plan was completed in 2001 and updated in 2006, 2011, and 2016. The efforts to prepare this update, the 2021 Regional Water Plan, began in late 2016 and have continued to date. The IPP was adopted by the South Central Texas Regional Water Planning Group on February 20th, 2020, this year. We are now in a public comment period where we are accepting comments from members of the public and federal and state agencies. Once these comments are received, they will then be addressed and incorporated into the final Regional Water Plan, which will be submitted to the Texas Water Development Board, or TWDB, by October 14th, 2020. Public participation is an integral part of the regional water planning process. As part of that effort, Region L has had quarterly meetings that comply with the Open Meetings Act. These quarterly meetings are open to the public, and comments are accepted from the public at the beginning and also at the end of the meetings. All meeting notices, agendas, and meeting minutes are posted on the Region L website. That's www.regionltexas.org. And these materials are posted prior to and or after the meetings. Meeting minutes and audio recordings are also posted on the Region L website. And once the IPP for the Regional Water Plan is submitted to the Texas Water Development Board, the Regional Water Planning Group holds a public hearing to present the IPP and solicit public comments. While only 1 public hearing is required, Region L has chosen to have 3 public hearings on the IPP, of which this is the 3rd of 3. Typically, these hearings are held in 3 locations throughout the region. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the hearings are held virtually. As mentioned, the planning process has public participation as an integral component. Population projections are one of the first tasks where we develop the populations and project future water demands for the region. These water demands include municipal demands as well as irrigation, manufacturing, mining, livestock, and steam electric power. Once we develop the project, the water demand projections, we also identify the water availability by source and the existing water supplies. We then compare the supplies and the demands to identify whether there are surpluses or needs. If there are needs, we then identify water management strategies, evaluate those water management strategies, and then recommend water management strategies to meet the needs so we don't have any shortfalls. For the 2021 Regional Water Plan, the Texas Water Development Board developed population projections by integrating information from the 2010 census and reported water uses from around the state. The projections are provided by decade from 2020 through 2070. For Region L, the population is expected to grow by 73% between now and 2070. with a region total of 5.2 million people. The next planning cycle, which will be the 2026 Regional Water Plan, will incorporate the next census, the 2020 census. The population of the South Central Texas region is projected to increase from about 3 million people in 2020 to 5.2 million people in 2070. The numbers shown over each of these bars indicate the percent growth over the previous decade. So from 2020 to 2030, we can expect a 16% growth. This figure shows the county breakdown of the population projections in 2020 in light blue and in 2070 in gray. By 2070, approximately 59% of the South Central Texas region's total population is projected to reside in Bexar County. And as you can see in this figure, we had to split the graph's y-axis, the vertical axis, just to show the significant population in Bexar County. In addition to the significant population in Bexar County, the counties of Comal, Guadalupe, and Hays counties represent the largest anticipated population growth between 2020 and 2070, with population increases of about 205,000 for Comal County, 214,000 people for Guadalupe County, and 358,000 people for Hays County. The counties with the smallest projected population growth between 2020 and 2070 include Karnes and Refugio counties, with population increases of approximately 500 people for Karnes County and 500 people for Refugio County. As mentioned previously, these population projections are used to estimate water demands along with other water use information. This figure shows the water demand estimates for each decade from 2020 to 2070 for 6 water use categories, which are irrigation, livestock, manufacturing, mining, municipal, and steam electric power. These water demands are measured in acre feet per year on the vertical axis. And for the municipal water demand, we're expected to see an increase by 60% during the planning period. These donut charts are another way of showing the water demands for the 6 categories of water use from the previous slide. As you can see, municipal water demand is expected to make up the largest proportion of water demands in Region L in both 2020 and 2070. And as mentioned previously, municipal demands are expected to increase by 60% from 2020 to 2070. Manufacturing and mining categories are expected to grow slightly in water demands over the planning horizon, and steam electric, irrigation, and livestock demands will remain relatively constant over the planning horizon. This figure shows the county breakdown of the water demand projections in 2020 in light blue and in 2070 in gray. Again, we had to split the vertical axis, the y-axis, to show the significant water demands in Bexar County. And of course, Bexar County is where San Antonio is located. Counties with the greatest percent increase in demands between 2020 and 2070 are Hays County, Kendall County, and Comal County, with a percent increase of 123% for Hays County, 110% for Kendall County, and 102% for Comal County. So another component of the regional water planning process is to identify sources of water supplies. In Region L, the sources of water include surface water, groundwater, and reuse or recycle water. More specifically, for surface water, we have run-of-river water rights, which is essentially just water rights in the river. And we have 4 reservoirs: Canyon Reservoir, Calaveras Lake, Lake Bronig, and Coleto Creek Reservoir. For groundwater, we have several major and minor aquifers, which include the Edwards Aquifer, the Carrizo Wilcox, Trinity, Gulf Coast, and several others. This figure shows the 9 river basins within Region L. The major river basins include the Nueces River Basin in orange towards the west of the region, the San Antonio River Basin in light green along the central portion of the region, and the Guadalupe River Basin in teal along the north, which also extends all the way to the coast. This figure shows the major aquifers within Region L. There are several crucially important aquifers in the region, such as the Edwards Aquifer in pink, the Trinity Aquifer in light green, the Carrizo-Wilcox in dark blue, and the Gulf Coast Aquifer in light blue. Going back to this planning process schematic, with the supplies and the demands established, we can then compare the supplies and demands to determine the surpluses or shortages. Shortages are also called needs. Based on these needs, we then identify, evaluate, and recommend water management strategies to satisfy the needs. And water management strategies are essentially projects to develop sources of water. Needs are calculated by subtracting the supplies in blue from the demands, this light green line. The difference between these numbers is the Region L total need. In the IPP, we have an increase in needs from 207,000 acre feet per year in 2020 to 399,000 acre feet per year in 2070. The next step in the planning process is to identify water management strategies to meet the needs. Each water management strategy is evaluated on the basis of quantity of water, reliability, financial costs, and environmental impacts. The 2021 IPP includes 900,000 acre feet per year of water management strategies, and this figure shows the categories of water management strategies that were included in the plan. They include conservation, reuse, reallocation of existing sources, fresh groundwater, brackish groundwater, surface water, new reservoirs, and aquifer storage and recovery, or ASR. Of the 900,000 acre feet in strategies, more than half of them are conservation, reuse, or reallocation of existing sources. In other words, they are not the development of brand new water sources, rather they are demand reductions and conservation efforts as a result of water restrictions, or due to drought, or low flow fixtures, or expanding water treatment facilities or pipelines for existing sources. This figure shows the yield expected for each of the water management strategies in 2070 for these three categories: conservation in blue, reuse in orange, and reallocation of existing sources in green. Along the left-hand side, the vertical axis, we show each recommended water management strategy in these categories. And along the horizontal axis, we have the yield or the volume or quantity of water that the water management strategy would provide by 2070. The water management strategies are organized first by category of use and then by quantity or the volume. Advanced water conservation in 2070 is expected to provide approximately 166,000 acre feet per year in water demand reductions. Recycled water strategies, which is reuse of treated effluent from wastewater treatment facilities, is expected to provide a yield of 54,000 acre feet per year of water in 2070. And facilities expansion is expected to yield 217,000 acre feet per year in 2070. For the fresh groundwater category, we have several water management strategies developed by Maxwell WSC, Martindale WSC, County Line, SUD, NBU, that's New Braunfels Utilities, the Trinity Wellfield expansion, SSLGC, expanded Carrizo project, CRWA Wells Ranch Phase 3 project, the CDLGC Carrizo project. We have multi-phase projects down here at the bottom. Basically, you could start with this, the bottommost one, the ARWA GBRA project Phase 1. That is a joint effort between Alliance Regional Water Authority and the Guadalupe GBRA. Local groundwater, the GBRA Mid-Basin Project Phase 2, and SAWS Expanded Local Carrizo Project, and ARWA Project Phase 2. For brackish groundwater, we have SSWSC Brackish Wilcox Project, County Line Sud Brackish Edwards Project, the SSLGC Expanded Brackish Wilcox Project, the CRWA Brackish Carrizo Wilcox Project, and the SAWS Expanded Brackish Project. For surface water, we have the CRWA Siesta Project, the City of Victoria Groundwater Surface Water Exchange Project, the GBRA Victoria County Steam Electric Project, and the GBRA Lower Basin New Appropriation Project. For new reservoirs and aquifer storage and recovery, or ASR, we have 2 ASR projects for the City of Victoria and New Braunfels Utilities. We also have the GBRA Lower Basin Storage Project, which would include an off-channel reservoir. The next steps in the planning process, now that we have completed these IPP public hearings, we had 3 on May 7th, the 21st, and the 28th. The next step is to receive comments from the public and from federal and state agencies. And then the RWPG will consider and address these comments on July 30th. We'll have a regularly scheduled quarterly public meeting on July 30th. And we will have another meeting on September 3rd for the RWPG to consider and adopt the final regional water plan. The Regional Water Planning Group then submits that final regional water plan to the Texas Water Development Board by October 14th. Again, we are accepting public comments and verbal testimony today. If you would like to submit a formal verbal comment as public testimony during this IPP hearing, you can go to this link, this Google Doc form that is provided in the chat. And also you can go to the regionltexas.org website for a copy of this link to sign up to speak at the Google Doc. And you can also submit comments anytime between now and July 20th by mail to Caitlin Heller or by email to Caitlin Heller. And again, these comments will be incorporated into the final regional water plan and addressed in the final plan. And with that, I will turn it back over to Caitlin.
Thank you, Lauren. There is now going to be a 5-minute break before the public hearing portion of this meeting starts. If you are interested in making a formal verbal comment regarding the initially prepared plan, you may sign up on the link indicated on the screen or go to the chat and connect directly to the sign-in. If you're participating by phone, please go to the Region L website at regionltexas.org, and the sign-in instructions will be on the front page there. We're now going to start our 5-minute break. Welcome back, and thank you for holding with us during that break. There is still an opportunity for you to sign up for the verbal comment portion of this meeting. Please click on the link on the presentation screen or in the chat box to sign up to give a formal verbal comment. Each person who has signed up to speak will be unmuted to be able to give their verbal comment. We will be saying the names of the people who have signed up to speak, and then we will unmute them. That person will have 3 minutes to give their formal testimony, and then that will be recorded and responded to in the 2021 IPP. I'm sorry, the 2021 Regional Water Plan. I'm going to go ahead and call the first person who has signed up to speak. That is Terry Burns. I will unmute you now.
And extensive data. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are speaking.
Okay, great. So I represent the Sierra Club locally in San Antonio as chair, and I wanted to make some general comments regarding the proposed plan. There's a lot of good data. I find, first of all, the goals for per capita water municipal use reductions totally inadequate. You still show many areas, even in 2070, using in excess or close to 200 gallons per day. Way unnecessary, way out of line. Should be far lower. You also have no commercial or non-municipal reduction goals to speak of, which should be corrected. In addition, you show electricity production usage at essentially unchanged levels, and I would expect that by 2070, there will be no fossil fuel energy production in the entire area, and that will result in a large decrease in water use and need. And most egregiously, I think, in this plan, I see no mention, zero mention of climate change anywhere. And you're predicting out to 2070 on the basis of current climate data and information about storms and precipitation. This is totally unrealistic. It's total fantasy. It makes no sense whatsoever. The world is changing rapidly. You need to use available modeling. The fourth climate assessment that the US government put out in 2018 includes our area and has information. This is vitally important to incorporate into your water predictions, and I urge you to do so. In addition, I would urge an element of caution regarding the population predictions. You know, Detroit in the 1960s was predicting to be one of the largest cities in the country. We see how that turned out. It's hard to know what's going to happen with COVID, but we may not continue growing at the rate we have. And we ought to have some margins of error in this modeling so we can see upper and lower points of reference. So please consider these comments seriously as you go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns. We have had no other comments signed up for the rest of this meeting. I'd like to thank everybody very much for your attendance. Just a reminder that these comments have been recorded and they will be responded to in the 2021 Regional Water Plan. If you would like to send written comments, you can send them to me at Caitlin Heller at 100 East Gunther Street, San Antonio, Texas 78204, or through email at cheller@sarah-texas.org. These will be accepted until July 20th. Thank you so much for all of your participation, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I apologize. We are getting a notification that we have received another sign up. I don't see that on our forms, but we will go ahead and allow that formal verbal comment to be spoken. Let me unmute Rachel Swinsky and she will be able to give her comment. Just 1 second, please, Rachel. Ma'am, I can't unmute you. You're going to have to unmute your button.
All right, thank you, Ms. Heller. Yes, I concur with many of Terry Burns' concerns. I also wanted to note that the population projections, although they are originated by the state, are extremely conservative based upon the current rate of natural growth. That's not even allowing for immigration to the area, looking over a 50-year period. And we all know that water demand is positively correlated with population. Along with Terry, I want to say that the projections of GPCD are not even in keeping with many of the much lower levels that some of the municipalities have already achieved. But in the long term, there is a way to always avoid all of these problems, and eventually everyone is going to have to deal with that, which is to use the technology that will be used, for instance, this week in SpaceX, and which has been used by every astronaut ever, which is net zero water. And there are some industries that could easily adopt net zero. I think that forward-looking, Regional and all of its entities should start to educate themselves on net zero water and start considering what would be ways to implement that and what would it take to do so. Will there be any municipal or state ordinances or laws that will need to be changed or advocated for? And also what incentives might help those who are able to readily adapt to reusing the same water over and over within their cycle to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If anyone else has signed up to speak and has not gotten a chance to speak yet, will you please indicate so in the chat? All right, we have received no other formal verbal comments. Once again, if you would like to send me a written comment, you can send it to me at Caitlin Heller at the San Antonio River Authority, 100 East Gunther Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78204, or through email at cheller@sarah-texas.org. We will end the meeting here, and I'd like to thank everybody for their patience and for their participation. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.